staging a musical in just 5 days. That may seem like a feat in itself, but what if I told you that this cast did it over 10 years ago in high school? They were asked to come together to reprise the same show, the same cast, the same choreography at their same high school, and it's all being filmed for a reality show. It's exactly what happened to some previously self-proclaimed theater nerds from Gibraltar High School in Door County. It's for the show called Encore, and it's streaming now on Disney+. I sat down with some of them to find out how it went. So your original production was High School Musical, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what memories do you have from that original production? I see some pictures here.
My feelings looking back at it was more chaotic than anything else. So the story of, like, I think why, part of the reason why I think this is such a, why we were chosen, or maybe why our story they wanted to tell, was because the cast was set. We were a week out, and wearing all of our hats, these three and one of our female leads played softball, and they're in a game, and she got a line drive to the face. And so being opposite her, she wasn't able to go on, so Kayla stepped in knowing all of the roles. And so I think back to this as more of, like, it was just chaotic. Like, everything was great until then, and then it was like
The last week
hard.
Was
very stressful, and it was really deciding with the director, my mom, and Katie and Abby, who are the other two female leads. Do one of them step into the role? Do we find somebody else? And then after we decided on Kayla, because she knew the entire show backwards and forwards.
I was a little bit obsessed with the musical.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and just put it out there, just a little.
I look back at this show and was more like, I just, like, deep breath when it was over.
For me to step up, it was really hard. There was a lot of going back and forth, telling the director, I can't. A lot of, I'm not even sure. She asked me, and then I was like, I need some time to think about it. But I think part of it is also because I had such a high interest in dance that I also knew all the dance. Like, I would watch everybody with all their parts doing all the dances. So that was the easy part. But otherwise, I had only been, like, an extra in a few of Liz's plays. So it was terrifying. And for a long time, about 12 years, I pretty much blocked it out. I mean, look, this diving back in really did a lot of healing for me, because there were a lot of tears, a lot of stress that week, a lot of pressure I put on myself because I didn't want to let everybody else down, having known what they did, but it was hard. I look back now and I think about, I learned a lot in that week of what I was capable of getting through and what I was capable of doing, but coming back to it really let me heal a little bit. I'm not sure how it'll be portrayed in the episode, but everyone here can vouch for that. The first day back, where I'm sitting in the car, nervous. I go in, nervous. Then they make us do our little auditions that we know are at the beginning of every episode. Terrible, nervous. I can't wait for them to show it. But as soon as we get assigned our parts and I go back to a smaller role and part of the ensemble, I had so much fun. Like, I had the easiest week out of everybody. So for me, it was a whole different experience. I was relaxed. I had my 2 lines down, knew all the songs. So it was nice to be able to step back into that ensemble role and just get to work with everybody in a different capacity.
Most of us reprised the same roles. I think they wanted to create a little bit of drama around the leads, so for Troy and Gabriella, so these two had to re-audition along with a few other folks.
And we all had we all had to sing and dance and read a little bit,
Yeah.
but it, you know, I mean, we're not stupid, we've done this before, so, like, most of them were reading for the same roles, and then it was only a couple of people that were reading multiple roles.
And part of it was because they're like, we haven't gone and really had a cast where there were 2 people in the role, and Allison of the original cast, and then myself taking over. So they're like, you were both Gabriella. Mm-hmm. So they wanted to have that audition and that dynamic.
When we started the week, they brought in an entire creative team to help us out. So that was a director who's currently working on the West End in London, a choreographer who's working in LA, and a musical director who's working in New York. So it was pretty cool to be able to have that kind of a team behind us to make us comfortable and really push us to do the roles the right way in a matter of days.
I think the most challenging part was you kind of unearthed things that you probably buried. I mean, high school was pretty enjoyable for me. I think it was probably enjoyable for, you know, all of us. But like, you know, in high school you hide things that you don't want to like set you apart. And then there's this 10 or 12 year stretch that we didn't really interact with each other. And they did some exercises and they did some things that kind of like brought you right back into that moment. And so there's a definite vulnerability that was a little uneasy. And so that I think was the most challenging part.
My favorite part was the sheer production value of that week.
So good.
Like Disney working with them, like what a dream. So the costumes that were tailored to your body, the wigs that you wore, the makeup, getting to sit in that makeup chair, and the stage, like what they built in a week. So I think that was cool.
I mean, you don't usually get this opportunity to go back to high school. Some people might say they don't want to go back to high school, but you know, that piece of it, being able to share this time, you know, pushing work schedules aside and all that was really fun. And then being from Door County and then teaching in Door County, living in Door County, the idea that like 200 people came here for like a week and like in the summer, like the busy time, and like totally supplanted themselves. You know, I mean, I think you could just feel like a different energy, and people were like wondering what is going on. Why are there like 5 semis like in the middle of Fish Creek?
They did. They said they shot mostly in larger cities or suburbs of larger cities, so Fish Creek was really special. And most of the crew commented on the fact that they felt like they were at summer camp all week because of the cabins they were staying in and like the activities. They go to Peninsula State Park and they loved the area. So it was cool to show off home to them and get to show the world what Door County is through Disney Plus.